Happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to Tuff Talk Live. My name's Terry Tuff, and that's my main man, my producer, my sidekick, John Champ. Champ, how are you, brother?
Doing great, Tough. Hope you are.
I'm doing great. We got a great guest today. We'll get to her in a moment. But as usual, Tuff Talk Live is brought to you by Happy Coffee. Hey, I'm Terry Tuff. Do you ever find yourself saying, I need more energy? I need to be more focused, or I just want to be happy? If that's the case, I got something just for you. It's called Happy Coffee. Oh, yes. Happy Coffee will help increase your energy, help increase your ability to focus, but most importantly, it will help make you feel happy. Happy Coffee uses natural ingredients along with nootropics that will help enhance your mood, it will help enhance your memory, and it will help make you feel happy. Happy Coffee, the new kid on the block. Happy Coffee will help energize your day, help you focus, and be more productive. Now, make sure you check with your doctor before you try Happy Coffee or any supplement. It's a brand new year. Try Happy Coffee because you deserve to be happy. Oh, yeah.
Oh
Happy
yeah,
Coffee. Yes, sir. That's our sponsor. Hey, Champ, have you tried Happy Coffee?
I have. I have. Makes you feel really good.
It really does. And again, we encourage you to speak with your healthcare provider before you try Happy Coffee or any supplement. But if you're interested, and I hope that you are, go to elevacity.com/ Mr. Tough and check it out. Happy Coffee. Because you know why, champ? You deserve to be happy. That's what that's about right there. You deserve to be happy. We got a great show today. We got a very funny lady on the show. She's been in the business. She's a legend in the business, to be honest. And we'll talk about it. She and I go way back. But before I introduce her, I'm gonna take you way back to one of her performances. Check this out.
Let's talk about Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods says he is not black. He is Caucasian. That's all good. Tiger say he's a mixture of a lot of things. I got news for Tiger, baby. We all are. I don't know a straight up brother or sister in here. Maybe you, baby. You look like you straight up out of Africa. But it's all good. It ain't nothing but love, nothing but love. And see, the thing is, those rednecks gonna let him know, you's a Negro. They ain't gonna be that nice, but they gonna let him know, okay? Because one of them already done made a statement, haven't he? What'd he say? I hope he don't bring collard greens and fried chicken to the masters. He didn't say wonton soup and egg rolls, okay? See, we know you are of Asian descent, Tiger Woods. We know, we can tell that you got Asian in you. That's probably where you get them big teeth from. Oh, don't trip. Y'all know Tiger got some big teeth, okay? His name should be Saber-Tooth Tiger. Big teeth bastard.
She's been on HBO. She's been on Showtime. She's worked all over the country, in and out of the country. Please welcome to Tuff Talk Live, Chinnitta Morris. You may know her as Chocolate. Chocolate, Chinita, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Terry. How are you guys?
Oh, doing great. How are you?
Great. Glad you're here.
Yeah, I mean, what a pleasure to see you. I mean, we go back to the late '80s, early '90s. That's when I first met you.
Mm-hmm.
And that bit that we just played, that was Chocolate. Uh,
Right.
uh, Now you go by, that was your stage name at that time, was Chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go by your given name, Chinita Morris. What made you change, go from Chocolate to back to your given name?
Well, in 1998, I gave my life to Christ,
Hmm.
and everything changed from that point on. So, and it's supposed to, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Any man
absolutely.
in Christ is a new creation. But around 2004, I felt led to go back to my real name.
Hmm. Well,
So,
it's a beautiful name, and and we've been talking, and I slip up, and you forgive me all the time because I'll call you Chocolate, and I appreciate you not getting mad at me. Um, the pandemic has hurt comedy bad. It's hurt the entertainment business bad. How have you been handling it? How has it affected, your performing in the comedy business?
Well, it has definitely affected the work that I do, because as a Christian comedian, most of my work is in the church.
Mm-hmm.
Churches are shut down.
Isn't that
So
incredible?
yeah, churches are shut down, and even even when they open back up, I'm not sure if the first thing they want to do is throw a comedy show,
Yeah.
because I think we're going to be socially distancing for a while. And so they've been creative, though. They have been very creative to do Zoom
Mm-hmm.
events, and it's probably spoiled me because, if you can do a comedy show and not have to be on an airplane,
Yeah.
uh, you know, and still get paid, yeah, that kind of spoils you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so
because the airplane is an incubator for diseases. I mean,
yeah, yeah.
because it's recycled air on the plane, so you're not getting
Mhm.
any fresh air. You're breathing that recycled air.
Right.
So
One of the things that wait a minute. One of the things that I've always been curious about is one, it's difficult being a comedian. Period. It's a
Right.
tough job, but being a female and being a black female comedian, what? How tough is it? How tough is it?
What they say, that comedy is the hardest form of entertainment, period.
Yeah.
Uh, black, black or white, and
Yeah.
then you add black, and
Hmm.
then you add female. It's a man's world.
Yeah.
This is really a man's world, because it's male dominated,
Yeah.
and especially if you're a single parent,
Mm.
especially if you're in the church,
Yeah.
because a lot of people in church look down on single people. Like there's something wrong with us if we're not married.
And that should be the last place that we discriminate.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So we deal with a lot of that, and I think sometimes it even hinders some of your bookings for
Yeah.
various reasons. It's like, okay, I don't think we need to be bringing a single woman
Hmm.
to this ministry. You know,
that's crazy.
you deal with a lot of things that factor in why you may not be working or whatever. But when what God has for you is for you, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. But it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard. And that's why you got to stay on top of your game. You got to stay funny. You got to set yourself apart. You got to be different. You got to
Yeah.
offer, like for me, I don't just do comedy. Like I like to teach in my comedy. My comedy kind of cuts you a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like I'll have you laughing at something that, hey, you need to work on it.
That's
Now that
exactly
you're
right.
saying that, I didn't realize I was
See,
doing that.
I,
So
I've
yeah,
always felt that we are obligated as comedians
yeah,
to not only entertain but to educate.
right, yeah,
When you leave a club, I want you to not only be feel those endorphins from laughing,
right,
but I want you to say, that was funny, but that brother was
right.
right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
exactly.
You, you know,
Yeah.
one of the things, and Champ and I, we talked about this last week when we had Ronnie Warner on.
Hmm.
It's hard being a black comedian, but it's always been difficult. I used to see so many funny black female comedians couldn't get work. But what always blew my mind in Hollywood, they didn't want to give black female comedians work, but they always wanted black brothers. They wanted the brothers to put a dress on. And
Come
I,
on.
I didn't, I always say, well, if you want a funny black woman, why don't you
Go
just
get a
find,
funny black woman. Yeah.
yeah, why do you want a brother to put his dress on? I
Yeah.
never, and so I
it's
always
it's
figured out,
it's that emasculating part of the black culture,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
for the
you're exactly
black
right.
culture, because you don't see them doing that with the white men.
Yeah.
And so the black men who conform to that, and
Mm,
then not only that, you add in the fact, because you ask if it's hard for a black female, um you add in the fact that black female is not vulgar, or doesn't curse.
hmm.
Ironically, it makes it harder for her, because
Yeah.
that's mostly what people want.
Yeah.
So if she's not going to be vulgar, if she's not going to curse, she better be funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I made that transition to clean and funny maybe 15 years ago because I just felt like I had more to offer
Hmm.
than what I was bringing to the stage. God gave me a great mind, and I always felt like if you don't grow and mature as a human being as you live, well, what was the purpose of living? If I'm going to be the
Right.
same person from birth to death, and
Right.
and and I don't mature, what was the purpose? I I just think when I look at comedians and I look at black comedians and black female comedians, I just don't. I've never understood why it was so difficult for black female comedians to get work. And I never understood why they couldn't be the leading, not the leading man, but the leading woman in the business.
Right.
I never understood that, really.
Well, because it's a man's world.
But
And
is
in
is it that
America,
simple? Is it just that? Is it? I mean, come on. Is it?
in America is not only a man's world, but white
Yeah.
man.
There we go. Hmm.
And so we can, some of us, we press our way through. You ain't gonna stop me,
Yeah,
and
that's
you
right.
can't block the gifts that God has given us, no matter how hard you try.
Hmm.
And then you have somebody come along like Michael Williams, who formed the Comedy Act Theater, first black comedy club in America. And it gave so very many of us that platform. And before you knew it, black comedians were coming out of the woodworks. It's like, who knew that there was so many black comedians? It's not just the Whoopi Goldbergs, it's not just the Eddie Murphys and the Damon Wayans. There's so many of us who just didn't have that platform, that vehicle to get us out there. And he gave us that platform. And before you knew it, there was an influx
Mm.
of black comedians. And that just goes to show you there's probably a black comedian in every family, black family,
Absolutely. Yeah.
in
You
every
know,
black family.
That's for
that's what you just talked about, Michael Williams in the Comedy Act Theater, and I know that's where you and I met
Yeah.
in the ATL in Midtown. And when I first walked into the Comedy Act Theater in Atlanta, I thought I had died and gone to black comedy heaven. Really,
Right.
because I had never seen it. I had been working all white clubs. I cut my
Mhm.
teeth in white clubs. That's where I
Right.
worked. That was all was available to me.
Hmm.
And you walked in this long, beautiful club, and the host was Rex Garvin, Cold Funk, who actually will be on my show next week. He'll be on Tough
Right.
Talk Live
Right.
next week. And and you just hit it, all these great artists going on stage, and you're like,
Hmm.
oh man, this is beautiful, man. Has it changed? Where are we at now as far as black comedy,
I
Chinita?
think what Michael Williams did for black comedy is what hip hop or whatever you would call it did for rap. People didn't think it would be around long. And
Yeah,
now it has shaped a culture, you
yeah,
know, and it has gotten the attention. It has spoken, it speaks of change and what would revolution. I mean, it is used as a vehicle to say so much and get so much done. And I
hmm,
think black comedy, I think the same thing happened with black comedy when Michael Williams came out with the first black comedy club, and then HBO picked up Def Comedy Jam, and it just blew up. And I think that people thought for a minute that it would be a phase. I
yeah,
don't think that it is phased out. I think that it has inspired so many other black comedians, and comedians of all races to step up. If that's a dream of yours, it's not so far fetched.
yeah,
Because before that happened, it did seem like something that was hard to accomplish because you
hmm,
didn't have that platform,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. Because what Michael did was he created that blueprint.
Hmm.
And then you got clubs like All Jokes Aside in
Hmm.
Chicago, which was just an incredible club to work.
Right.
Then then Harvey opened his club up in Dallas. Steve had a
But then
nice
not
club.
only that, you had a lot of white rooms who weren't initially booking Black comedians like that,
Great point.
actually dedicating certain nights to
Great
Black
point.
comedy,
Yeah,
period.
that's exactly right. Because I was working with the comedy zones,
Right.
and the comedy zone started to open up their own line of Black comedy rooms. I
Yeah.
mean, most of the comedy zones were primarily white, but then they saw the money that was coming in from the Comedy Act Theater, and that the Black market was bringing in, and the Greenbergs who ran the comedy zones, they were
Right.
like, all right, we
Right.
we got to get some of this
Yeah, we
change.
got to capitalize
Yeah,
off of
yeah,
this. And
yeah,
every room, do you remember the run that we used to do from like New Jersey to Alabama?
absolutely. Absolutely. I
You
mean,
would
that
do
was,
like,
yeah, absolutely. And you counted on that money. You counted on
yes,
that work,
yes.
and it was almost like the Motown run. Remember,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
remember what was it called when all the
Chitlin
Motown,
circuit. Oh,
yeah,
Motor,
yeah.
Motortown Review.
yeah, what was it called,
Yeah,
champ?
yeah.
Motortown Review.
But
That's
not
exactly
only
right.
that, you know what I miss about that though, Terry? The exercise that we got on being on those runs to build our comedy muscles, man. You
Oh yeah,
came off of that mug so strong
yeah.
that
It's
it was ridiculous.
because Black rooms are no joke.
Right.
Black
Yeah.
rooms,
Yeah.
Black rooms are no joke.
But why, Terry? Because there is a comedian in every Black family. And Chocolate, you better be funnier than
yeah,
Aunt BB.
yep,
Because Aunt
absolutely,
BB will roast
absolutely,
you. So
absolutely.
so so you can't just come up there hemming and hawing and ain't not really knowing what you're doing. You got, Black comedians, because it's one in every family. We see it
Yeah.
every day. So you got to be funnier than Aunt BB.
But you make a very good point. It was part of the maturation process. When we did that run, we learned how to become great comedians. We
Mm-hmm.
learned the game. We learned about stage presence. We learned
Yeah.
about finding our audience. And so when you came off that tour, you were tired, but your pocket was heavy.
Your pockets, your pockets was fat, and
Yeah,
your muscles was
yeah,
like,
yeah,
man,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
your
mean,
confidence,
yeah. I mean,
was like, I wish you would heckle me.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you had a swagger, man.
Yes. Yeah.
I got you've seen the picture, and for whatever reason, my screen's not sharing. I wanted to share the picture of us, the HBO picture of all of
Uh-huh.
us. But that Def Jam gave us a swagger, man.
And a camaraderie. We had
Yeah.
such a camaraderie.
Oh
We
yeah,
were
Love the
family, dude. I mean, we literally were family from all parts of the world, from all
absolutely.
parts of the United States. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, just being able to be part of that,
yeah,
when you got that call from HBO saying,
yeah,
hey, you're going to tape on this day, we're
yeah,
flying you into New York, this is where we're
yeah,
going to tape, and the Muslims are providing security,
yeah,
because that's who was our,
yeah.
it was, I mean,
love
I couldn't believe it.
I
Uh,
mean, shout out to Def Comedy Jam, because they didn't go, they weren't trifling with it. I mean, it was carte blanche with it. I
that.
mean, they put you up in Manhattan, one of the nicest hotels in Manhattan. They gave you a per diem. We had never even heard of a per diem before. So, I
yeah,
mean,
you're
they
exactly
treated
right.
you like you were already a superstar.
Absolutely. And just to meet all, and what I do now, Chocolate, I don't know if you do that. Sometimes I just sit and reminisce.
Hmm.
I'll sit and watch a Bernie Mac clip, and I'm thinking, you know what? He did the prayer for us backstage at Def Jam before we went on stage. Bernie led the prayer, man. See,
Wow.
I knew Bernie, and I don't know about you. I had met Bernie in Chicago. Bernie was a legend in Chicago before he was anywhere in the world. And so just to
Bernie used to come. Bernie used to take me on tour with him.
see,
And so I will forever be grateful to him for that.
yeah,
But Bernie and Jamie Foxx were two that when they would come to the Comedy Act Theater, didn't matter how many weeks they stayed at the Comedy Act Theater or how many days they did, every night that they were on stage, either one of those two, it was like comedy school. It was
yeah,
like a comedy classroom, and all of us all the amateurs, all the young comedians, we were there every night, even though we knew every joke that they were going to do. But it was just like comedy classroom when those two were on stage, and we just sat there and soaked it up every night that they were there.
Yeah, man. It's, just being able to say, I've worked with the greatest, is, that's on our resume. We've, we've worked with the greatest. I mean, I've even shared the stage with Richard Pryor. Who would ever thought, this country boy, would ever share the stage with the greatest?
When you grew up looking at him on
absolutely,
TV, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Or I grew up with my mother breaking his albums up, because I would be in the basement listening to him. And she would be like, he is too vulgar. I don't want that in my house. That, and I'm like, but Mom, this dude is, I didn't even hear him curse. I just heard him.
But you know what? Because I heard a lot of comedians talk about how they grew up on Rudy Ray Moore, Richard Pryor. I had never listened to I never knew who Rudy Ray Moore was. Dolomite.
Well, I did.
I had seen one of Richard Pryor's comedy movies. Of course, I knew him in the movies, but I didn't know him as a comedian. So I didn't grow up listening to any of them, Mom's Mabley or none of them.
Yeah.
But for me, when they did the Soul Train Comedy Awards, and I was one of the nominees for Best Female Comedian. It was me, Adele Givens. I don't know who the other one was, but Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg won it. I was like, she can have it.
She can have it. I'm here.
Just happy to be in the
number. Well, that leads me to a good question. Who were some of your role models in comedy? I mean, when you were getting started, who did you look at?
My very first night on stage was my very first time in a comedy club, period. So the only comedians I ever saw were comedians on TV. And before it blew up, you had HBO doing stuff like the 1 hour comedy shows, and you had Mark Curry, you had Sinbad. So of course you had them. And that was just a couple of years before the Black comedy stuff blew up. So as a young child, the comedians that I saw that I thought were cool were people like Ellen DeGeneres.
Absolutely.
Marshall Warfield, of course, Whoopi Goldberg. Now, all of them were kind of masculine. So when I get into comedy, I'm thinking, I don't want that look. I don't want that masculine look. Because women back in the day, the women that you saw in comedy, except for Rita Rudner, people like her, very few female comedians looked female-ish, looked feminine. And so I would say that's another thing that Black comedy brought to the comedy atmosphere, was a lot more feminine women. And that's not to diss anybody or anything like that, but you just didn't see it. Yeah. And I think when Black comedy blew up and Black women were exposed more, it gave us that little, like you said, that swagger or that little je ne sais quoi. Because that wasn't there before. But I didn't really have anybody that I looked up to like that. Now, when I got in the business, Simply Marvelous.
Oh, that's my girl, man.
Laura Hayes. Everybody.
It's funny that you say that.
Angela Means. Angela Means.
Where is Angela? I love Angela. I haven't seen her in years.
Yeah, man. Angela Means was, man, she took me under her wing and she was like my big sister. Yeah. And comedy. She really was. She took me under her wing and just
because I know her son was a quarterback at the University of Miami, I think. But I haven't
seen
he went
NFL.
Did he go pro? I didn't know if he went pro or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, I knew he
Yeah,
was.
he went pro. I think I'm not sure who he was with at first. And then I think he got traded to Detroit. And then I think he got hurt. So I'm not sure now. But she actually has a vegetarian restaurant
What do you have her
in
contact
LA where all
information?
this.
Because I would love to have her on the show. I got
I
to
don't
reach
have
out to
her.
Angela.
I don't think I have her number, but she and I are friends on
Facebook.
Facebook, and we interact. We interact there.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
we used to have a blast at the Comedy Store. That's where she and I used to have a great time at the
Yeah.
Comedy Store. So I'd love to have her on the show. And Champ, do you know Angela? Because if you don't, she was on the movie Friday. What role did
Bye, Felicia.
she was Felicia? She was by.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She is
Wow.
by Felicia. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's that's exactly right, man. You know.
yeah. So Angela was Angela. She and I, when we found out we were pregnant at the same time. I mean, she and I were thick as thieves.
Chocolate. I
Angela was
remember
my
that
girl.
now. It's coming back
And
to me. I remember how good of friends you guys were.
yeah.
I remember that
Mm-hmm.
relationship now. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
So
But you know what? Simply Marvelous.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I worked at the
Yeah.
Comedy Act Theater, it was me, Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
Simply Marvelous was the headline. That was my very first paid gig at the Comedy Act was with Simply, Pierre, and myself. That was many,
Wow.
and God rest her soul. I think about her
Simply
often.
was like
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was honest.
Simply was next in line to me
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
I loved Simply Marvelous. She took me under her wing. She was a blessing to me. And she got sick and
Yeah.
kind of left the comedy game quietly.
Yep.
And I was trying to get in touch. She and I did a play together years ago. Actually, Salt from Salt and Pepper, and not Kid, but Play from Kid and Play.
Yeah.
We're doing this play, and we all she and I were in it together, and that was last time I talked to Simply.
All right.
So,
she was.
and she
I loved
passed
her.
on about 3 years ago.
She was so honest. Just so honest.
But she was from Louisiana.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Champ, did you have a question for Chocolate?
Yeah,
It seemed like you had someone.
I was going to ask, where do you see Black female comedy going now after the pandemic and all that? But I didn't want to bust up that because I'm loving the report you guys have together. So after all the pandemic and all this being locked down.
Well, you know what? I would have to be prophetic to be able to tell you that, because I don't know how this pandemic is going to turn anything. I mean, it definitely has devastated not just comedy, but entertainment, the entertainment industry, period. So
right.
It would depend on our strength at this time. Right now, I would say who's kicking butt. I'm very proud of her too. She makes me laugh. Is that dog on Samoa? Samoa is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Samoa has always been hilarious.
Yep.
But I just love her creativity.
She's been pounding for years, man. She just hasn't got her just due. She's been out there for years, strong too.
And I've never known a time when Samoa wasn't funny. And she's just a really genuine person. She's just a beautiful person. I haven't talked to her in years.
Me either.
And of course, people used to get us confused. You're Samoa. And I remember one time I saw in the air. Well, she saw me.
That had to be white people, right? White people got you confused.
No. We got it all. Because she walked.
Really?
I remember one time she saw me in the airport, and this was long after I'd given my life to the Lord and everything. She creeped up behind me and was like, "Hey, Samoa." And I turned around, like, I'm not saying it was her.
That's funny.
But we get it all the time. And so funny. Even when people say, "Hey, I remember you," I have to ask them that. You're not getting me confused with Samoa.
Yeah.
Because we do. We get it. People have always gotten us mixed up.
Chinita, I got to hit my sponsor one more time. But when I come back,
sponsor, pay some bills.
Yeah. When I come back, I want to talk to you about where the world is right now. What's going on in the world? We're going to step away from comedy. I want to hear your opinion about politics, the insurrection, the new president. Rush Limbaugh passed away. and left 600 million for his for his wife to enjoy. And so,
Wow.
yeah, his net worth was 600 million. But let me run my sponsor. We'll talk about real life when we come back. All right. Hey, I'm
Absolutely.
Terry Tuff. Do you ever find yourself saying, "I need more energy. I need to be more focused," or "I just want to be happy"? If that's the case, I got something just for you. It's called Happy Coffee. Oh, yes. Happy coffee will help increase your energy, help increase your ability to focus, but most importantly, it will help make you feel happy. Happy coffee uses natural ingredients along with nootropics that will help enhance your mood, it will help enhance your memory, and it will help make you feel happy. Happy coffee, the new kid on the block. Happy coffee will help energize your day, help you focus, and be more productive. Now, make sure you check with your doctor before you try Happy Coffee or any supplement. It's a brand new year. Try Happy Coffee because you deserve to be happy. Oh, yeah. All right. We're talking to Chinnitta Morris. You know her as Chocolate as well. Very funny comedian, a legend in the business. And before we went to the break, real quick, there, Chinnitta, I want to get your opinion on where we've been in the last several months. We had one of the wildest human beings that I think that has ever been on Pennsylvania Avenue, Donald Trump. But I think it says more about America than it said about him that he was even elected.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts now on where we're at, the insurrection, and where are we going in this country?
Terry, I think it's safe to say that we all need to sit down and have some happy coffee.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I might have to steal that right there and add that to my spot.
We need to sit down at a huge round table and sip some happy coffee.
Yeah.
I am born and raised American.
hmm
I don't feel like America loves me like I'm supposed to be loved
Mm.
as its
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
And with everything that has gone on, I think it has been a sad reality and an eye-opening experience for most Black and Brown people. And if it hasn't been, then baby, you must be sleeping under a rock.
hmm
Um, the situation with President Trump is just it's just hard to believe, and especially when you have Caucasian friends that voted for him, and it's like, can you? I can't wrap my brain around
Yeah.
why you think this is okay. Okay, so in order to appease you, he says he doesn't believe in abortion.
Mm.
Many of us don't believe in abortion, but you can vote against it all you want to.
Yeah.
It ain't going nowhere.
hmm
And not only that, if you look at the way God gives us choices, he doesn't make us do anything. Sin is sin, whether it's abortion, adultery, racism. It's like, how can you look past the racism part to support his adultery
Come on
agenda? I
now.
mean, not adultery, but abortion agenda, which he didn't. I didn't hear him mention anything about him trying to
Yeah.
overturn the abortion bill.
Because he
So
doesn't
you're
agree with
voting
it.
for this man, seeing all of this hatred spewed and all of this, all these things here. He is inciting all of this violence and bigotry, and just seems off his rocker. Make it make sense to me. But then I think back to how Jim Jones
Mm.
brainwashed so many people.
Yeah.
And it's sad that people think that they're the saddest part of this is that a lot of people who call themselves conservatives, conservative, I guess, is supposed to mean that you're holier than liberals, that you're more godly than liberals. But I'm seeing you call wrong right and right wrong.
Watch out now.
So I'm not. I mean, if you want to see somebody who is true.
Oh, I think we lost her audio.
Yeah, she'll be back. We lost your audio there.
Because
You're,
my phone rang. I'm sorry.
you're okay. You're okay.
So it's like the highest form of brainwashing I've ever seen in my life. And I mean, this man, you hear what's coming out of his mouth, you see the things that he is doing, and you have justified it.
Yeah.
This is the highest form of deception I have ever witnessed in my life.
I agree with you 100% because, at no point in time did he ever hide who he was. There's no way that anyone that voted for him could say, well, I didn't know he was like that. I didn't realize he was a racist. I didn't realize that he was sexist. I did. Yeah, you did, because he told us from day one
Right.
who he was, and Maya Angelou says, if somebody tells you who they are,
When they
you
show you
believe
who
them.
they are,
Yeah,
believe them.
believe them.
But
And
then
so,
that's some people's argument, is that because he is not afraid to say what he feels, and I'm like, and that's a reason to vote for somebody?
yeah,
That's ignorant.
yeah,
Charles Manson wasn't afraid to do what he did.
that's
I mean,
exactly
but is
right.
he fit to be president?
Yes, exactly right. And it's okay to express yourself the way you feel if it's for the good of the people. We want
Exactly.
we want honesty if it's for the good
Right.
of the people.
Right.
But when you're creating chaos, and
Yeah.
that's all he's created. But he
Yeah.
also gave comfort to those who have felt like him for years. There are millions of people who have felt exactly like that, and he gave them comfort to be able to come out and express themselves and
Yeah.
say whatever they wanted to say. They've been wanting to say this for years, you
He let the
know.
genie all the way out the bottle. He really
Absolutely,
did.
absolutely. And so,
But you know what? But to be honest, that really was for our benefit. And truthfully, I believe I don't stress when we have elections, because I believe that whomever is put in office, God allowed it.
yeah,
If he
yeah,
allowed it, he has an agenda for it. I
yeah,
believe that everything that I believe that God used. See, a lot of white people, a lot of people who voted for Trump, God is using Trump. Yeah, but not in the way you think. God is turning over some tables. He's turning over some stones. He's showing us what was really in your heart. You had a lot of us sitting in these churches under these white pastors who behind the scenes were racist.
yeah,
And God exposed a lot of that, because a lot of these pastors were voting for this man
yeah.
and encouraging their congregations to do the same. So you sitting there in this white, and you're like, hold on, I've never seen this side of you.
That's exactly right. Let me tell you something. Billy Graham's son, or as I like to refer to him, Billy Graham Jr., he didn't hide his racism. He didn't
Right.
hide his racism when President Obama was in office. He was
Right.
one of the people that was involved that was talking about, oh, we don't know if he's from America.
Yeah.
We
Franklin
can't.
Graham. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I call him Billy Graham Jr. because all of them play that game.
Right.
But one of the things that happened with black folk, and this is just my opinion, I think, and I agree with you when you say God uses people to wake people up. I think black folks, some of us got complacent when we had 8 years of a black president. We began to think that we had arrived and everything was good to go. And that is so far from being true.
So far.
We
But I think that's what God wanted to reveal to us. I think
hmm
God wanted, and I think that a lot of Caucasian people don't realize that God was pulling up skirts. He was exposing these people.
yeah,
And
like
he was even showing them,
yeah,
you're not as non-racist as you think you are.
that's exactly right.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of people a lot of them did check themselves and was like, wait a minute, I didn't
Yep.
realize I had this in my heart. But for the
Mhm.
most part, a lot of them, were more rebellious and was like, no, this is the way it's supposed to be, and this is the way it should be, and I'm not going against this. He's trying to preserve America. Well, first of all, you're fighting for something to keep it your own when it was never yours.
Absolutely. Somebody
And
tell me.
then this country was built on the backs
Yeah.
of black people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you still don't want to give us a piece of the pie.
Hmm.
And
It's
so I think this was all orchestrated by
yeah.
God to say, I'm sick and tired.
Yep.
They don't know, but I'm about to show them what's really under the rug
Yeah.
in this country.
Like Ali always said, I'm gonna shake up the world.
Right,
That's exactly what's happening.
right,
And I've always said, and it really has bugged me from the day that I could create a sentence when I heard people say this country was founded by, and I'm like, how find you didn't find this country?
right,
If you come to my house and there's a $10 bill laying on my dresser and you take it, you didn't find it, you
right,
stole it. I
right,
mean that's the facts.
right,
You didn't find America. The Indians
right,
helped Columbus off the ship. And first of all, Columbus didn't discover America anyway. He was nowhere near America. If you read your history, if people read
right.
their history, and so you're right on point. I believe God is working and working extremely hard to reveal things to people, to a certain population that needs to know the truth about this country and the truth about the world. Uh,
And I'm going to tell you the people who dropped the ball first, and these are the people that God is exposing first, and that is the church.
yeah,
I think the thing that infuriates God more is that this is being perpetuated in the church. The racism behind the curtains, and and we got so comfortable that you had Black people flocking to sit under white pastors. I
yeah,
was one of them. um, and not realizing the racism that is this church's foundation that they have never bothered to deal with. And I think
hmm,
God was saying, because judgment starts at the church first. Because
yeah,
if we get it right in the church, then we can show the world what true love looks like. But when the church is playing and putting on a fraud, uh, you know, uh, uh, and acting like there's something they're not, when God knows our hearts, He knows what's going on behind the scenes. And so God says, no, I'm about to expose all of this,
hmm, yeah,
because it's the church who failed first. And God is still waiting on the church to call this thing out and say, no, this is not right, not by any stretch of the imagination. And for people to call themselves conservatives, and conservatives are supposed to be holier than
yeah,
liberals, and
yeah,
the fact that people even call people conservatives and liberals is
laughable.
I'm
It's
like, really, that's what we are?
yeah,
So
that's the joke. That's the real
based
joke
on
right
what
there.
I say, you call me a liberal
Yeah,
or a
yeah,
conservative, or if,
it's
if I don't vote for Trump, I'm not a conservative, I'm
that's
not holy.
yeah,
So where is that in the Bible? So
yeah,
I think this whole America is so steeped in idolatry
yeah.
that is not even funny. And I think that He's calling the church on the carpet first, and we have yet to respond to say, this is not okay in the house of the Lord, and we will not tolerate it.
Well, I
Because
look
until the church can be the example of what true love is, the world will never get it right.
I look at what's happening in the world now. I look at what's happening in the United States right now. I look at the state of Texas right now,
Hmm.
and they're experiencing something that they have never experienced
Mm-hmm,
in a lifetime, and they don't understand it.
mm-hmm.
But I just think it's the Father God saying, I'm still in power.
I
You,
think this
I'm.
whole pandemic thing
Oh yeah,
was a result of just the disobedience in this country, and just the lasciviousness that goes on around the world, and how we just decide to do our own thing and do away with the fear of God. And so God says, okay, let me show you who's in control.
yeah.
And since you want to put your football and your basketball and all these other athletic games and everything under the sun before me, let me shut everything down. Who has
He
that
did.
power but God?
That's exactly right. It is. It is. It has changed a lot of hearts, and I'm talking about the pandemic. It
Hmm.
has changed a lot of hearts, and it has awakened. a lot of minds, and I love the way you speak to it, Chocolate. But you know what? I'm gonna play a clip now where you transition. When we opened the show, you were Chocolate.
I was young.
Yeah, when we opened up
I
the
was a
show tonight,
PYT.
uh, we were you were Chocolate. But as what I've loved about you and just listening to you, is the beauty of seeing how you have transitioned and became Chinnitta Morris. Not that you weren't Chinnitta Morris, but you
Right,
made
right,
that
yeah.
that you made that trip to who you really are. And
Oh,
and the
I
clip is
grew
loading
up.
here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. The clip is loading. It'll give me a few seconds here to load it up. I want to play it, but it kind of bugs me that you and I didn't sit down and talk more in the past. You know,
wow.
Oh, yeah.
because we were so into being the best comedian or making,
Yeah.
what I'm saying,
Yeah.
trying to get to the mountaintop, that
Yeah.
we didn't sit down and break bread enough to understand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that we could have discussed that we have in common, that we could have made a lot of changes back then,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and could have inspired other people to make changes.
Well,
But
listen, we still have breath in our body.
mhm,
Blood is still running warm in our veins. We still have opportunity to do that. So,
you're exactly right. It's I used to work with the great Les Brown, man.
mhm.
And one of the things he used to, every morning when I'd come into the studio, it'd be about 4:30 in the morning, and I'd always say, Les, how are you? He said, Terry, I am blessed and highly favored.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's how I feel about my life now.
Yeah.
That's how I see your life and John
Amen.
Champion's life, that you are blessed and highly favored.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and as my minister always says, and it's taking this clip a long time to load, we'll get to it in a moment. My minister always says, it does not yet appear what you shall be. What
Mhm.
if you weren't Chinita Morris, the comedian, what would Chinita Morris be doing now in her life? Or what would have been the other path that she would have taken in her life?
Mm, probably an actress because I wanted to be in entertainment since I was a young girl. Didn't really realize it was comedy. I wanted to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I started doing comedy, of course you want to do everything, but comedy was my baby, and I wanted to that's what I wanted to do. That's so I don't know. I would probably acting. If not that, I probably would have just been a housewife.
Yeah, I know that's right. Hey, as you look back, or any regrets? Any?
Not at all.
Not at
Not
all.
at all.
Yeah.
Man, I God has blessed me because, truthfully, I wanted to be an entertainer. I never imagined that I would travel the world, that
Yeah.
I would be known by so many people, that my name would be up in lights. I
Yep.
never thought that far ahead. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be an entertainer.
Yep.
And so for me to have done all that I did,
Yeah.
accomplish. Of course, there are things that I did not accomplish that I wish I could have accomplished, but no, I have no regrets.
Yeah.
I
I
still have a lot to do.
I know that's right. I agree with you 100%. Again, I said it earlier. I'm just a country boy, and I had no idea as a small boy, watching, because I was hooked on the Dean Martin show. I'm gonna tell my age now. That's where I got into comedy and entertainment. I used to watch
Uh-huh.
the Dean Martin show, and they would have on Sammy Davis
Right.
Jr.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra, and Dean
Right.
would come out with that glass every night.
Right. Right.
Everybody loves somebody sometimes. Sammy did all those impressions, and
Right.
and
Right.
and,
Right.
and that's where I got hooked. People will tell you, when I was a kid, most people were, when there was kids would be outside playing, but when Dean's show came on, I'm on my knees watching,
Wow.
and
Wow.
so I got hooked on cats like Jonathan Winters. I loved
Right.
Jonathan
Yeah.
Winters, man. I
Yeah.
loved Frank Gorshin. Frank Gorshin was the
Wow.
Riddler on Batman, you know, but he
Yeah.
did incredible impressions. I just was
Hmm.
always fascinated by people who did impressions, and people
Uh-huh.
like George Kirby, who died, but George was incredible. So, you know, I can dig what you're saying. You know, we have
Yeah,
been
I
we have been
came from,
blessed.
oh yeah, no, and I came from very humble beginnings.
Yeah. Oh,
So
me too.
um I'm I'm the first in my family to ever venture out and do something
Yeah.
like this. And I remember once I graduated college and I had ventured into comedy and wasn't making any money. I was just an amateur, but I was going so hard for it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't accept a full-time job or anything because I knew that this was what I wanted to do. And my auntie and people would tell me, just go get a real job, you
Yeah. I heard
know.
that so many
And
times.
I was like, you don't
This
understand. This is what I
this
want
is
to
a real
do.
job.
Yeah.
They
And
don't.
then when it started paying off,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a whole nother story, you
They don't
know. So
understand that this is a real job.
right,
They don't
yeah.
understand how difficult the game is. And
Right. Yeah.
to achieve any amount of success in this business, it takes hard work and dedication.
Dedication and
Yep.
determination,
And
because I'm
determination.
telling you, I was almost homeless at one point in
Yeah.
Atlanta, but I was this was my philosophy. If I'm gonna be homeless,
I'm gonna
I'm
be
gonna be
funny.
homeless in Atlanta trying
Yeah.
to be a
Yeah.
comedian.
Yeah.
So
And you have to have thick skin in this
yeah,
business.
yeah,
And you got to be able to understand and accept the word no, but understand that that doesn't mean that's the end. No is
right,
not, you know,
right,
because there's many doors that are closed in this business.
right.
But you keep rolling. You keep rolling. So, but anyway, in the beginning of the show, we played a clip, and it was many years ago. The clip we played earlier, it was Chocolate. I'm gonna play this clip, and this is the transition to Chinita. This is Chinnitta Morris.
Coming to the stage from Atlanta, Georgia. You seen her on BET's Comic View and HBO's Def Comedy Jam. I want y'all to make some noise for my sister, my friend, Miss Chinnitta Morris AKA Chocolate.
It is hard being single today. It is. You know, when you first get single, you got all kind of stamina. Amen? Because, you know, when you first get single, it's just you and Jesus. You know, and women, we make us a little list. You know, we always get us a little list because we've been through some stuff. We know what we want. We know what we don't want. 1 year go by, you know, you good. It's just a year. 12 months. 2 years, 3 years, you be like, all right, Jesus. 5 years, you pull that list right back out, don't you? You be like, hold on, some of this stuff ain't necessary. See, a good job ain't necessary. Long as he got a job will do. 6 years go by, you like, okay, come on, seriously? 7 years? No, you pull that list right back out. Hold on. Teeth? Teeth is not necessary. He ain't got to have no teeth, Jesus. We wasn't even born with teeth, Lord. Teeth, that ain't even biblical. He ain't got to have no teeth, Jesus. That's the world's way, teeth. We can eat soup every day, Lord. He don't need no teeth. Some nights you be like, Lord, can you just send me somebody to help me pay these bills? Next thing you know, your sister moving in with you. Hey, y'all been a wonderful audience.
That's fun. Hey, when you see yourself on stage, when you see yourself on TV, how do you feel? I'll tell you how I feel, but I want to hear how you feel when you see yourself.
It's hard for me to watch myself. I have 1,000 videos of
Mhm.
myself, and you would think that, you know, I'll watch them. I don't.
Yep.
I'll watch them if I'm rusty and need to sprucing up on some comedy to do a show or whatever. But I don't like watching myself like that.
Uh,
So
I feel exactly the same way. Every time I watch myself, I'm like, why did you do that? If you,
Right.
you know,
You're
what?
so critical.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
why? I said, if you just said this, if you'd went there,
Yeah.
and my wife is watching it with me, and she's like, she's dying. She's, oh, that's.
Right.
I'm like
Yeah.
that. To me, that you don't even know. I messed that bit all up. I
Right.
was,
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's you're exactly right. To me, in my opinion, I have never done a good show yet. I don't know when. I really, I know that I
Dude,
have.
are you serious?
Yeah, I know that I have, but I've just, I just never, and maybe it was because the way I was raised or something like that. I just, I remember when I was a kid, man, and I played baseball when, and this is why people got to be careful when they're raising children,
Hmm.
because what you say to them sticks with them.
Right.
Uh, we were Little League, we were playing, and my team came in second.
Hmm.
And so I was going out to meet my dad, and my dad had his issues. We'll get into that on another show. But I said, Dad, we came in second. It was close. He's like, so y'all lost, huh?
Mm. Yeah.
And after that, I was like, I just got in the car and sat down and just, I was like, I guess, what I
Yeah.
did really didn't really mean that much. It wasn't.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
and so I can't say that's where it came from, but that's kind of like my mentality is like,
Hmm.
I don't never get too caught up in myself. I know I've done some good stuff. I know I've done been places and done things that's incredible. But I just never have felt comfortable with what I do. And so I don't.
Oh, that I was terribly, terribly shy when I was younger, and had a lot to overcome when I got into comedy. My desire to do comedy, my love for comedy made me overcome every time I had to force myself on stage. And that was on Def Comedy Jam, that was on BET's Comic View. That wasn't just in my amateur years.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I came to Christ
Yeah.
that I got comfortable.
Yeah. I was.
Because in the world, you are about you trying to make your light shine bright.
Yeah.
And when you come to Christ and you're doing this for his glory, it's no longer about you. So
Hmm.
that took all of the weight off of me. And then I began to just encourage myself to have fun. And so I would go on stage, and it didn't matter if the audience wasn't having fun. I'm up there having fun, and because they see me having fun. And man, I wish I had gotten that revelation so much
Yeah.
earlier. I
Yeah.
would have been so much funnier
Uh,
if I had.
yeah.
So
Champ, you got something?
Oh man, I feel blessed being able to learn from both of you. And we got a viewer comment that was saying, listening and learning from all different positive perspectives is what we need more of. I'm enjoying listening to you folks. God bless. I absolutely love your comedy, Ms. Morris. Couldn't have
thank
said it better
you.
myself. Thank you, Mr. Mike Foster, for watching. Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
But what a lot of people don't realize is a lot of times we get on stage, we're shaking in our boots because
Yep.
we want to please you.
Absolutely.
And so we want you guys to have fun. That's what we've been hired to do. And so when we see you guys having fun, man, it's such a rush. And like I said, I came from very humble beginnings where I didn't have low self-esteem. I had no self-esteem.
That's funny. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
to
I
do this has blessed my heart in a way that is indescribable. And so for people like the young man who just made the comment, those things, you never know what you say to people, how it just really helps them grow and
absolutely.
blesses their hearts. So
I s-
thank you guys for having me.
I second that, and I just want to thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We'd love for you to share this on your Facebook, on your social media. I think it was a great interview, and if that's okay, John will get that over to you.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much. We hope to have you back in the future, and I wish you nothing but the greatness that you deserve as you
Thank
continue
you.
to move on in life, and what God has for you is for you. So
Amen.
stay blessed, and thanks so much. Big hand for our guest,
Thank you
Chinita
guys.
Morris.
Thank you. I had an awesome time with you guys. Thank you so much.
God bless. Take care.
Good night.
We
Good night.
will do Tough Talk again next Thursday, same time. So tune in.
You
Champ,
got it.
peace.
Peace, Terry Tough.